Switches.
Why did it do that?
I don't know. Hello, I'm back. Craig's here too. It's the best Damn Illini post-game show from the folks that no one asked us. Hello, Craig. It's great to see you. Thank you for carrying the load last Sunday while I was busy watching Oppenheimer win Best Picture at the Oscars. Illinois goes into the Big Ten tournament and wins their first game of the weekend, the quarterfinal win over Ohio State, 77-74. Lots to talk about, lots to dissect, but I think off the top, we just need to just breathe. Let's just do a breathing exercise. Let's just take the whole fan base, everybody that's in here, just take a couple seconds to pause, to exhale. Okay, now we're good. You got to do it, man. You got to do it. Hello, everyone. Hello, Blake. Hello, Michael. Hello, whoever else is watching us live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever else. If you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, as Michael said. It really helps those analytics, helps those digits on that YouTube page. But as always, wherever you're watching, whenever you're watching or listening after the fact, we appreciate you being here. As I said, yes, Illinois, it's not pretty. It was arguably one of Illinois' ugliest basketball games all season. But it ended up being a win. Hello, Mom. Oh, hello, Lennox. It's great to see you. Logan's podcast. Yeah, let's address the good first, because I think we need to start with the positives. Illinois won another basketball game tonight. Illinois won
in March.
Illinois
Postseason
won a March basketball game tonight. I don't think it was any question. I think Illinois was already locked into the 4 seed. At worst, Illinois is definitely at worst a 4 seed in the national tournament. We'll talk about the implications towards the end of this show. But the good. Terrence Shannon, 28 points. Terrence Shannon was everything Illinois needed tonight and then some. Illinois needed all 28 of those points. Terrence Shannon was 10 for 11 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. He did commit 4 fouls, and he picked up his 4th foul fairly early in the game. And
there's 9 minutes left, right?
He had to sit for a while, and I was really concerned because that was about the only offense Illinois had going for it up to that point. But he finishes with a huge 28-point outburst. We'll get into some of that stuff. I haven't really talked to you. How are you? You good? You alive? You breathing? You're here.
Now I am. Yeah, there was a roller coaster of emotions. Yeah, I tweeted it with the link to the show here. I tweeted, "This March might break me. This might be the one."
Yep.
Because going into it, Christy's working tonight. She switched, so she's on the night, the working night side tonight. So watched it by myself. So all day leading up from 4 o'clock on, I was just all right, whatever. Kind of like you said, we're going to be a 4 seed at worst. Does this game really mean anything? And then after halftime, Ohio State came out and just punched us right in the snaz, right in the snaz. And I got the nervous shakes. I could feel my legs twitching the last 6 minutes of this game. So this March might break me if things don't go Illinois' way.
Yeah. I never felt nervous. I was annoyed. I was annoyed with how this game was going. Quite honestly, for most of the game. I have stood on milk crates and yelled it to anybody that would listen how important Marcus Damask has been to this team. Marcus Damask was absolutely non-existent tonight. Coleman Hawkins, we'll get to how Coleman Hawkins finished the game, but up to that point, Coleman Hawkins was nearly a non-factor as well. Coleman Hawkins and Marcus Damask tonight combined for 14 points, which isn't the end of the world, but they were pretty bad. This was just I was just annoyed. I mean, I was ultimately that was my reaction for most of this game. I don't think I was super concerned, but obviously at this point everything is win or go home. So you just can't do that anymore. The rest of the season, you just can't show up like that. Let's go to some of those numbers. As I talked about, Terrence Shannon, a team high 28 points. Dain Dainja. This was a Dain Dainja game. I don't know where that came from. Dain has, over the course of the last month or so, really found his footing in this rotation. Brad has really leaned on him more, and it's worked. And I don't have all of his numbers in front of me from, like, as I said, the last month or so, but tonight he was huge. The Minnesota kid, man, 18 points, 8 rebounds. He was clutch. 7 for 10 from the field, 4 for 8 from the free throw line. Would have liked to have seen him hit a couple more of those. But that's what you're going to get. He's a 50% free throw shooter. That's what he was tonight. The only other Illinois scorer in double figures was Ty Rodgers with 12 points. Had you told me that Illinois would have 3 players in this game with double figures and that only one of them would be one of their 3 best players, I would have absolutely said they're losing this basketball game. I just don't think it's possible. And had you given me every guess in the world, I wouldn't have guessed that Ty Rodgers would be the 3rd leading scorer. 12 points, 10 rebounds, a double-double night for Ty Rodgers.
He played well against Ohio State and Columbus too.
There are just some matchups that work better for certain players. So this was obviously a Terrence Shannon game, but this was very much a Dain Dainja game and a Ty Rodgers game as well. I mentioned Marcus Damask, 7 points, 4 assists, 2 boards, 4 turnovers. Coleman Hawkins, 7 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Wasn't terrible. Really came up with a couple huge clutch rebounds towards the end of the game. So kind of give him
a block shot too.
And a block shot. They'll give him a little bit back there. Quincy Guerrier, 0 points. Justin Harmon, 2 points. Luke Goody,
he was
3
awful.
points. Yeah, all 3 of them were not good. And then we saw Dre Gibbs Lawhorn, who I honestly didn't even realize was still on the team. He hasn't played in weeks, so he came into the game for some unknown reason and played 4 minutes. And Nico Moretti got a minute. Neither of them scored.
Nico Moretti didn't even get a minute. He got like 15 seconds.
Okay, well, he got a minute as far as
got scored on.
As far as the numbers are concerned.
Thornton backed him down and just went right over top of him.
Yeah. Yep. The 2-headed monster for Ohio State, Jamison Battle, Bruce Thornton, each with 20 points. Battle with 21. He was clutch too. They talked about it several times on the broadcast. A Minnesota kid who wanted to play in the tournament and went to Ohio State thinking that this was the chance to do it. Don't think that's going to end up happening now, but we'll talk about Ohio State here soon. In terms of like team stats, field goal percentage was very similar, 45, 42. 3 points were identical, 4 for 15 each team. Free throw, Illinois was only 66% from the free throw line. And as I talked about, they were 21 for 32 as a team. Terrence Shannon was 10 for 11. Everybody else was, 11 for 12? 11 for it, not good. Turnovers were the same. The fouls was the biggest thing too, I know. Illinois committed 13 fouls. Ohio State committed 27 fouls.
Whoa.
Yeah. So,
wow. I didn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was that big of a.
It was a pretty big differential.
Wow.
Their entire front court was in foul trouble the entire game, and that was part of the Dain experience. I mean, Dain got in there and drew fouls and got guys out of the game, and that's what it did. And yeah, the foul differential was huge. I know there's plenty of people in the chat. Thank you all for getting here. Craig's flashing through some of those up on the screen. We'll talk about some of those things here too. I mean, I don't know how much we want to dwell on some of these things. Obviously, tomorrow will be a different day, but you just can't have Marcus Damask and Coleman Hawkins both being non-existent. They showed it during the game. This was the first time since the Valparaiso game that Marcus Damask went a whole half without scoring a bucket. Can't have that.
And it wasn't just like He took 16 shots. I think 12 of them were shots you love seeing him take. He missed like 3 layups, point blank layups.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And his fadeaway that he has hit probably 55%, 60% of the time, he was coming up short on all those.
He got some bad bounces too. Like
he got
it
some
wasn't
bad bounces. I don't want to boil it down to the moment, an MVC player playing in his first high major postseason. I don't want to boil it down to that. But you can't have it tomorrow. You can't have it tomorrow.
And I'm sure there were some nerves out there. You're going to have that. There's a lot riding on these games. There wasn't quite as much riding on tonight, and there won't be as much riding on tomorrow necessarily.
That's why this game didn't surprise me. Ohio State, they have been the hottest team in the country, and they had something to play for, and Illinois didn't. So,
well, I'll get to that in a second. This team knows what's at stake, and they are still trying to win a Big Ten championship. Brad has preached that to this team, so that's still ultimately what they want to do. But they also know that there are further things ahead that they're really shooting for. So, Ohio State. I know there was some, you need to win this game. Ohio State's not a good basketball team. If you don't think Ohio State's a good basketball team, you clearly haven't paid attention to anything that's been going on in the Big Ten since whenever Chris Holtmann was fired, because this is a very different Ohio State basketball team from that point in the season. Let's take a look here, because ultimately this game meant a lot more for Ohio State than it did for Illinois. Similar to the Iowa situation on Sunday. This is a game Ohio State needed to win. Ohio State, this was a 20-win season. I would never have guessed that. I know
they flashed up their resume. Way. Yeah,
I
didn't realize that either.
When I saw that 20-win number come up, I was shocked. I mean, this is a team that had lost, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of 9 games between January and February. And since then, they have went on to only lost 3 times since then. This is a team that has a win over Purdue. This is a team that has a win over Michigan State. This is a team that has a win over Iowa. This is a team that earlier in the season got a win over Alabama. This Ohio State team has better marquee wins than Illinois does.
Yeah. What was their one?
Illinois is obviously the better team as far as records and everything is concerned. But like the thing that I've talked about on the show a week or so ago was that Illinois does not have marquee wins. Ohio State has multiple marquee wins. Illinois doesn't have a single one. So this is a good Ohio State team, regardless of what you thought they were earlier in the season.
What was their one loss since Holtmann was fired? Because weren't they 6-1?
I don't remember the exact date Holtmann was fired.
Valentine's Day.
Okay, so then they lost Minnesota at Minnesota on February 22nd.
Oh wow, that's a bad loss. Well, not bad. Minnesota was decent.
So if he was fired on balance, so they lost to Wisconsin on the 13th.
Mm-hmm. He was fired the next day. Yeah.
So then after that, they beat Purdue, which tends to happen. You have an inspiring situation, like whatever. Then they lost to Minnesota, and then since then they beat Michigan State, Nebraska, Michigan, Rutgers, and then Iowa last night in the first round of the tournament, or the second round, whatever. So there's
no doubt they should have been better.
No, yeah,
there's no reason for them to lose 8 out of 9 out of 11 stretch that Holtmann went through. There's no reason for this team to do that.
This is a better team than that. This should have been a tournament team, and they came very close to being one. I really think had they won this game tonight, they were knocking on the door, because that bubble is just. It's interesting, but I don't think it happens now. I think they really need to win this game. So
I love we can talk tournament later, but I love how every day this week since like Wednesday, Tuesday, a bubble team gets a win, and everyone's like, "Oh, that locks them in. They get a berth." And then the next one wins. Oh, that locks them in. It's like there's only like 5 spots. Not all of these teams are locking their spots in here.
For a while, it didn't seem like any of the bubble teams were very good. And now a lot of those teams are actually winning basketball games. So
playing some inspired ball.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, ultimately what I was getting at is that this is a much better Ohio State team than I think what some people may have thought.
Arguably the hottest team in the country.
Yeah,
arguably.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a team
which
that,
is
as I
I
said,
think I put Blake's comment up here. I think he said that.
yeah, they were, again, knocking on the door of a tournament appearance. So kudos to Illinois for pulling it out. Ohio State obviously needed it more than Illinois did, but at the end of the day, they pulled it. They put it together, and Terrence put the team on his back. Coleman had some key rebounds and a nice block, and they pulled out the win. What's going on in the chat? Do you have other things you want to bring up? Any points? Any comments that we need to talk about? Any questions we want to talk about?
I found a nice little feature for me.
Oh,
I can star comments that I want to go back to.
that's
Didn't know
wonderful.
that.
That's great.
So let's
Look
go
at
to
you
our
learning
buddy.
things.
Let's go to our buddy Mark.
Hello, Mark. Welcome to the best damn Illini postgame show before the professionals start. Mark, Brad was great tonight. Threw guys in to see what would stick. I think we made a run with DGL and Dain in, maybe Goody too. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I just have questions sometimes of why the decisions are made that are made. Again, DGL hasn't played in weeks. So like why what I'm just curious what the reasoning is in this moment that you feel like you want to ride with DGL. I know why you're riding with Dain. Dain has been getting better and better and working better and better with that rotation. But the DGL thing was astounding to me that was even a decision. But I think it worked. I mean, he didn't do a lot, but
I think it just came down to Justin Harmon has been such dog.
Yeah, he's been bad. Justin Harmon has been bad
lately that you wanted to get him out. You threw Nico Moretti in, and they just immediately attack him and go right over him.
Yeah.
And then I think DGL replaced Nico. So I was like, okay, if they're going to do that, let's throw DGL in there.
Yeah.
He's way more athletic. I believe he's quicker, got a little bit more fire. He didn't contribute anything tonight, which I think you just said. But in the moment, you just didn't have a whole lot of other options because Ohio State was on their run. You had to do something. And that was the guy that they turned to.
Yeah, this is not the point in the season where you want your fifth-year players to be regressing. But
he's so bad right now.
We have not seen much out of Justin Harmon in a while. Quincy Guerrier, I know, had a good night a game or two ago, but he was a non-factor tonight as well.
The Iowa.
We talked about Damascus and Coleman. Like you brought in these fifth-year experienced players for a reason. Like they have to. I'm not saying they have to step up and be the guy every time, but like you just need more out of those guys. You need more out of Justin Harmon. You need more out of Quincy Guerrier. You definitely need more out of your all-conference players more than you got tonight. So hopefully we can chalk it up to some early nerves and they go out and take care of business tomorrow, and then we'll just kind of see what happens on Sunday. And then obviously we know what next week lies ahead.
It's a good question.
Actually, I had that pulled up, but I don't know if it's updated or not.
I don't want to forget to mention this little.
Oh, what do you have? Do you have a nugget? Nugget.
I don't think it's updated. We are 81 right now, but it still shows our record as 23-8. So I don't think it's updated. Tonight was our first Big Ten tournament win since we won the championship.
Yep.
3 years ago.
Yeah, that's part of the whole Brad can't win in the postseason thing. Yeah. That certainly goes into that.
I don't think they showed the stat, but I think Hummel or Gowden. Was it Gowden? Was it Brandon Gowden tonight?
Yes.
I think one of them said it that Illinois won in 2021, but other than that run, Brad's like 1-4. In the Big Ten tournament, which is insane.
The other fun little tidbit that was posted tonight was that Terrence scored his 2,000th point. In this game.
Yeah.
Illinois is the only power conference program in the country with 2 active 2,000-point scorers.
Oh.
Yeah. Thought that was fun because Marcus Damascus.
Did they say the other two
as well?
Did they say the other one?
No, it's the only power conference program with 2 active 2000.
Oh, okay. I thought okay. Wow.
No, it's the only
Wow.
they're the only program. Only team in the country that has 2 at the Power 5 level, power conference level that
That's
has
crazy.
2 2,000-point scorers.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was fun. What else? What else do we want to talk about? What else we need to pinpoint? You want to go over plus minus? Do you want to go over
Oh, I can't imagine what plus minus is.
any thoughts and prayers? Any Juwan Howard comments? Any
That's at the end of the show.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
We had a lot
Blake,
of guys.
Blake, I
minus and
saw
plus
your
minus.
comment. Thank you. Appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, if you haven't already, guys, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to get to 1,000. We're not quite there yet.
Logan grows a Matthew Meyer mullet when we get.
Let's
to
just try to get to 600. Can we get to 600 by the end of this tournament? That would be a good goal. But right. I'm going to imagine that most of y'all that are watching this have already subscribed. But if you haven't, head there now. You want to read this? Yeah. Jeff, a game like this could help us down the road if they get down in the tourney. Give them confidence they can come back and win. Yeah, I mean that's certainly something that you hope happens. It's something that you certainly hope they build off of. In these situations, I kind of always, and I know it's not the same situation, and I was obviously younger, but I think back to the 04-05 year when they lost their last game of the year. And I think that probably, helped them with some adversity things that they hadn't really had to go through much throughout the season. So yeah, if this is a situation like that you learn from this, you got to build off of it though. Because this is, and as I talked about, this is where your veteran leadership, this is what this team was built to do. This team was built for March. This team was built with veteran players that know what to do, know how to play. Those veteran players need to show up. And I'm not talking about just Justin Harmon and Quincy Guerrier. I'm talking about the others too that were very little factors tonight. Yeah.
This is a position that Illinois has not been in a lot. A lot of times it's Illinois giving up the lead, being on the other end of this. I don't remember. I'm terrible about remembering like specific games, but I don't remember a game where Illinois has come back like they did tonight. I'd have to go back.
Yeah,
and look,
I don't
like game by game
off the top of my head.
So yeah, it's a good sign. It's a good sign.
Yeah. That's something you want to see more of, and it's obviously
to do it when Coleman was playing awful, Justin Harmon was playing awful, Marcus Damas was playing awful. Yeah. Like to do it when your horses aren't playing good, means even more. I would think
it helps to know you have 2 all Big Ten players, first team players on this team, which we hadn't talked about. Illinois has 2.
Oh yeah,
first team all Big Ten players on this roster, which we talked about a few weeks ago. What else? Who do we play tomorrow? Nebraska or Indiana? Obviously, that game's about ready to start now. I think Nebraska's the better team. We'll see what team shows up with Indiana. I mean, I'm not trying to like
Indiana.
No, I don't want. Well, that's fair. I'm not trying to like say I'm not worried about the game or anything. I was more concerned about Ohio State, honestly, than I am either of those two, just because of how hot they are. And if Illinois can beat Ohio State, that hot of an Ohio State team with the performance that they did, then I feel a little better going into tomorrow, regardless of who they play. But I think both of those teams are obviously very beatable. Illinois is the second best team in the conference for a reason, so they shouldn't have any issues until Sunday. But things go different ways. I would rather see Nebraska. Would be my preference.
If Indiana wins, that's 6 wins in a row for them.
They're trying to get into the tournament too.
Yeah.
At this point, everybody you're playing is trying to get into the tournament. Well, Nebraska, I guess, is technically in, but
Purdue.
Purdue is a bubble team, I think.
Man, Purdue fans came after us after our post game there.
I think they came after you.
They came after me.
You were the one spewing the we're the better team. Give me them on a neutral court. We'll beat them 10 out of 10 times or whatever you said. Like you were stirring some things up. I love it. I'm all for it. But I think they were.
we have known this since we started the podcast, and we've had multiple people tell us this.
What's this?
We agree too much. We're
Yeah,
too
we're
like
not good.
we're too reserved. We're like we never argue. We never like we're on the same page all the time, which doesn't lead to good ratings or good views.
No, we're not here for good.
So,
we're not here for we're not here trying to be the next whatever show you watch on ESPN where everybody argues all the time. No, we're just here to chat, but yes, we do tend to have a lot of the same opinions. Sometimes you're a little more vocal with some of your opinions, but they don't necessarily mean that I disagree. I don't know that I agree that we're the better team than Purdue. I think that was a little out there, but whatever. Michael, yeah, we played bad in one. How many times have we played bad 2 games in a row? Good point. This team hasn't lost 2 games in a row, I don't think. Have they?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I don't think they
also
have
haven't lost a game by double digits. One of only a handful of teams that have not lost a game by double digits this season.
Illinois has not lost 2 games in a row. So we'll just see. What else? We got plenty of people still here in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you have questions, let us know. We'll try to get to as many as we can. Mark's back in here. We have a chance in March because we have 6 or 7 guys who could quote unquote have a game, which I agree with. Brad has to identify which guys are there and when to roll with them. Yeah, that's how this team was built, and we learned that throughout the course of the season. You have your 2, lead dogs, and then you have a handful of guys that can be support. I mean, you saw it tonight. Dain Dainja and Rodgers. How many times have those 2 been your second and third highest scoring players on your team? And you found a way to win. So yeah, this team is built this way. I will say that other than maybe whoever you get in the first round game, the competition is pretty tough from here out. So there's just no time to have a letdown game. You got to have. I'm not saying you have to have 30 points out of Terrence Shannon every night, but you got to be able to have your big dog step up more often than
not. That's it from the comments that I'm going to show. So we can talk tourney and what this meant.
Okay. Well, that's great. Yes, we talked about it at the top. This going into this game, I think Illinois had already locked in the 4 seed at minimum. But this definitely for sure is that the floor is the 4. The 3 is still very much in play. Duke lost yesterday.
Kentucky just
Creighton lost. Kentucky lost too? I had not seen that.
It just went final 5 minutes ago.
So Creighton, Duke, and Kentucky have all lost in their at least quarterfinal games or whatever in their respective tournaments. So I think if Illinois wins tomorrow, they're going to be in a pretty good shot to get a 3 seed. There's an argument out there whether or not the Big Ten championship game really matters in terms of seeding, ever. I think knowing what I know now that all 3 of those teams have lost, and Illinois has continued to climb up this 4 line. Just a few weeks ago, I think they were probably like 4th on the 4 seed in the 4 seeds. Now it sounds like they might be 1st or 2nd. So, I think if you win tomorrow, I think you're looking pretty good for the 3 seed, which obviously is more preferable.
I've seen a couple. I think CBS and USA Today have them at 3 already before tonight's games.
Well, great. I think the odds are increasing that you can climb up to the 3 line, which honestly surprises me. I didn't think we would get there. This team was really looking like a 4 or 5 seed. So the fact that they might be able to climb up to that 3 line would be huge to avoid the 1 seed in the Sweet 16 would be incredible, because as we know, this year there's a clear top tier teams, and there's 3 of them. Those are the 3 obvious number 1 seeds: UConn, Purdue, and Houston. Those are the 3 teams you want to avoid. Whoever gets that 4th number 1 spot looks like probably going to be Carolina at this point. But if you can avoid the 1 seeds altogether, then I think you're in a better place. because those twos are not nearly as scary as those ones. So yeah, if you can do that, it goes a long way if we can make that happen, which I think it's certainly still in play now, especially with the Kentucky thing. But yeah, I haven't seen. There'll be more updated stuff tonight in terms of seed lines, but that's kind of my take. We will play the winner of the game that's starting now, I assume. I don't have it up.
Yeah,
Nebraska and Indiana.
It was 10-10 last I saw. I got it on the laptop here. It was tied at 10.
Yeah, so we'll see. That game will be at 3:30-ish tomorrow Eastern time, 2:30 Central time, roughly.
Yeah.
25 minutes after whenever the first game ends. So, yeah, that's what's in line for tomorrow. If you win that, you're playing for the Big Ten championship game on Sunday against probably Purdue, but we'll see. This was fun. This was not the most fun.
It was
game.
needed. It was needed.
Yeah. A win is a win. I was going to say this too. The last thing I want to mention is I have no ill will towards Ohio State, especially in basketball. I have no ill will towards Ohio State fans. Honest to God, there was a part of me that felt a little bad about being the team that ended their season, because I think this is a team that is better than the stuff that they've gone through, and I would have liked to have seen them make the tournament. So I was a little sad to know that Illinois was the reason they're not going to make the tournament. But it had to be done. Had to be put to bed. You have that much ill will towards Ohio State.
I'm surprised you said that.
No, that's an honest feeling that I had. It's an honest feeling that I had, because as well as they played in that game today, and as well as they played the last month or two of the season, knowing that they probably won't get in the tournament now after that kind of makes me sad a little bit. But at the end of the day, it just needed to happen. Illinois needed to win.
I mean, there are obviously other Big Ten teams that I loathe more than Ohio State. But I don't think I'll ever be sad for ending their season, ever.
That's fair.
I mean,
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
I can say one name, and I would assume get you riled up.
Mark Titus?
No. Although I told Logan I was watching the Barstool live stream because I was watching the game by myself, so it was fun hearing them. And then Ohio State got up, and I turned it off because they had their 3 Ohio State fans. It was fun watching them just slouch down in their chairs after the end. No, I don't want to say it, so I'm not going to.
Aaron Kraft?
05.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think I'll ever be able to forget that.
I mean, that was a bad moment, but whatever. I've already touched on that game literally 5 minutes ago, so they needed that. I think they needed that game.
I didn't hear you.
I think they needed that loss. Honestly, I truly think that. Yes.
I don't know about that.
Whatever. It didn't mean anything.
Speaking of Ohio State, their former coach has a new job. We can touch a little coaching carousel here.
Yes, there has been some coaching news. Paul. Yep, correct.
Michigan came open tonight. I think that's probably the biggest news. I don't understand why, though. I thought Juwan was doing a great job. Should have kept him to a lifetime contract, Michigan man. Loves the university, so I don't know why they would let go of him. So my question:
has such a great record against Illinois.
If you are a coach, would you rather coach the Michigan Wolverines or the Louisville Cardinals?
I was going to send you that same. Are you not going to include Ohio State into that mix? Do they not belong to that conversation?
I don't think so. I guess you could. I guess you could. Those 3 are, I think, the big 3 at the moment. I would assume. Where would you go?
Louisville, all day.
Yeah, I think so too.
That is I think it's a better job. The facilities there are incredible. It's an ACC. Well, currently it's an ACC gig. Who knows what the ACC's future is? Yeah, I would take Louisville. That it just means more there. Basketball is a bigger deal there. You go to either Ann Arbor or Columbus, and you're second fiddle to football, which some people probably don't care about. There's probably a little less pressure, but I think that I would choose Louisville if I was presented with all three of those as options. I would honestly, I would choose Ohio State over Michigan personally. But
Really?
I can see why you might go the other way. I guess Michigan had a really good run in the 80s, but like, I mean, they both have had similar success the past 20, 30 years. They both have made some championship runs. Nobody in the Big Ten wins championships. So it's just a matter of, who makes your runs. But I would probably lean Ohio State over Michigan, but it's close. But I would take Louisville. I think it's the better job of the three. I like the Holtman thing. I think it makes sense. DePaul is a struggling program that could use literally any sort of life. The fact that they are a Big East program in the city of Chicago, they should be so much better than they are. Chris Holtman has obviously had success in the Big East at Butler, had success at Ohio State. Like I think that's a good get for them, and a good choice for him. We'll see what happens. I don't think Michigan gets a huge name. That's the thing is I don't think I don't think Dusty May is going to Michigan. I think Dusty May is going to go to
Nate Oates.
Nate Oates got an extension.
I just saw someone tweet that Nate Oates is their top choice.
They literally just extended him like 2 hours ago.
Anything. If you can pay the buyout, it doesn't mean anything.
Whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's probably going to be, who knows? We'll see. But yeah, those are the three big, plenty of coaching carousel stuff, but those are the three or four biggest at this point.
It's fun down here. I mean, it's everyone knew it was coming. Kenny Payne was just a disaster. Doesn't even describe it. It was like a Oppenheimer explosion down here. Like nothing went right.
Good reference.
So yeah, knew it was coming, and now that it's happened, everyone's just like so excited. Like I've never seen a fan base go from just the doldrums of what this basketball season was, the last two basketball seasons, at the drop of a hat. It's like, oh, okay, it's official. Let's go get Scott Drew. So it's been fun. People are pretty optimistic about it. I don't know that it happens, Scott Drew, but I could see Dusty May. Ending up here because, like you said, I think it's a better job than Ohio State. So
okay, so
the worry with Dusty, the worry about Dusty May is though he's so connected to Indiana that if they fire Woodson the next year or in 2 years, like is he going to jump? No matter where he's at, is he going to jump at that Indiana job? So
your prediction for Louisville is who?
You want me to go with my head or my heart?
Whichever you think is right.
In my gut, I think Scott Drew's going to take it.
Okay.
More realistically, probably Mick Cronin. I believe he's from Cincinnati. He coached Cincinnati. He was an assistant here at Louisville, so he knows the program. That's, if I had to put money, that's probably who I would put money on is Mick Cronin. But I do think they do have a legit shot at Scott Drew. Because if Louisville's probably one of 5 or 10 jobs he would leave for. Like, he's built Baylor into such a power. Why would you leave unless it's for UCLA, UNC, Duke, like Louisville? They're not a blue blood, but they are a top 10 program. So these jobs don't come open very often. So
who takes the Ohio State job?
I think Dusty May has his pick. He either takes Ohio, whichever he gets offered first, which is going to be probably Ohio State, because Louisville can't afford to wait. Like if they think they're going to get Scott Drew, they're not going to offer the job to Dusty May until they hear from Scott Drew. So if Dusty May gets offered the Ohio State job tomorrow, or the day Florida Atlantic's season ends, like he'll take it. I think it's either him or Diebler. Like there's a lot of smoke that Diebler is going to get the permanent job. Adam Jardy had that story today.
And who takes Michigan?
I haven't thought about that one yet. I don't know. Matt Norlander had Nate Oates. Darren DeVries was a name that he threw out there. I can't remember. Blake in here said Musselman. That's a decent fit for them.
Yeah.
But we got quite a few Illini fans in here that I'm sure don't want to hear us talk about this. But Kaylee asking the hard questions.
Who is going to be the next coach at Southern Illinois University? And just agree with me in the fact that it's not going to be a former player.
How long do you guys got? Because I got all night to go on about this. And I hope Tim Leonard's listening.
Let's just change the background. We'll change the live stream. We'll go to a different channel. Let you have your moment.
I don't want to even get started.
Okay.
Well, it's going to be the Towson guy. It's going to be the guy that he knows. It's what's going to be.
Okay.
Thanks for riling me up, Kaylee.
Also, do you want to talk about John Sanderson, the newest member of the Illinois basketball coaching staff?
That's interesting.
Roster coaching whatever we want to call it.
That's interesting.
Leaving from. Why is it interesting?
One, he has a top 50 son in the class of 2026.
Yes,
Two, it's a I think Werner tweeted it's like a small temporary role. Like he's not like under contract or
I think he's just hanging out.
Adam Fletcher. Yeah.
I think he's just hanging out with Fletch, with the team, going to ride through the postseason, hang out, and then I think he'll end up with another job elsewhere. Would be my
guess. That don't know the name, John, right? Sanderson.
John Sanderson,
is the staffer, strength and conditioning coach that Juwan Howard got into a altercation with in December at Michigan. He had been at Michigan since 2009. And I saw the Athletic and the UM Wolverines Insider. I read those articles last night after the news was announced that there was some sort of issue with something that happened with one of Juwan's sons. I was like, what could a trainer do? Wrap his ankle wrong? Why are you flipping out for? But whatever happened pissed Juwan off, and he went at Sanderson, and Sanderson didn't back down, and they had to be separated. And since then, he has been away from the team doing other stuff in other athletic departments. And now he's with the Illini in a small role.
Big hire. Okay. You're ready to shut this thing down? You've been on here long enough? All right. Let's close this thing down. Yes, Dave, brackets. The league is set up. I'll shoot you a message. Final from Minneapolis, 77-74. Illinois advances to the semifinals of the Big Ten tournament. They will face the winner of Nebraska and Indiana, the game that is going on right now.
17-16 Indiana. 10 minutes left in the first half.
We will be back with a post-game show following that game. The game itself will start around 3:30 Eastern time, 2:30 Central.
19-17 Nebraska.
Okay, thank you. We will see you then.
Should I just do play-by-play?
Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Okay. For Craig, I'm Logan. We'll see you guys tomorrow. ILL. Peace, love, and barbecue.
Barbecue.